7 words. 7 words spoken on a dusty road in the middle of nowhere by a woman the world had already written off. She wasn't a prophet. She wasn't a queen. She wasn't chosen by birth or bloodline or anything the world looks for. She was a widow, a foreigner, a woman with nothing left to lose. And yet those 7 words would write her name into the bloodline of Jesus Christ himself.
Do not urge me to leave you.
That's it, 7 words, and nothing was ever the same again. To understand why those 7 words mattered so much, you need to understand what Ruth was walking away from. Ruth was a Moabite, and if you know your Old Testament, you know that word carried weight. The Moabites and Israel had a long, complicated, often hostile history. The law of Moses explicitly stated that no Moabite could enter the assembly of Israel down to the 10th generation. That was the world Ruth was born into. But here's where the story really begins. A man named Elimelech from Bethlehem, which ironically means house of bread, took his wife Naomi and their 2 sons to Moab during a famine, and tragedy starts stacking up almost immediately. Elimelech dies. His 2 sons marry Moabite women, Ruth and Orpah. Then within 10 years, both sons die too. 3 widows, no men, no inheritance, no safety net. In the ancient world, that wasn't just heartbreaking, that was a death sentence. Now Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died, and she was left with her 2 sons. Both Mahlon and Chilion also died, and Naomi was left without her 2 sons and her husband. Naomi hears the famine back in Bethlehem has lifted. She's going home, but she tells Ruth and Orpah, go back to your families, go back to your gods. You've been kind to me. You deserve a chance at a new life. Go. This is the moment. This is the crossroads the entire story turns on. Orpah kisses Naomi goodbye and walks back toward Moab. And I want to say something about Orpah that never gets said. Orpah is not the villain here. Orpah made the logical choice, the reasonable choice, the safe choice. She had cried, she had grieved, she had been faithful, but when Naomi released her, she went. There is nothing wrong with that, but Ruth didn't move. Naomi tries again. Your sister-in-law is going back to her people and her gods. Go with her. And that's when Ruth opens her mouth.
Do not urge me to leave you or to return from following you. For where you go I will go, and where you lodge I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God my God. Where you die I will die, and there will I be buried.
Now stop right there. We often read this as a beautiful wedding verse, and yes, it is gorgeous. People put it on wedding cards, but hear what is actually happening. Ruth is not reciting poetry. Ruth is making a covenant. In the ancient world, the language she uses, your people shall be my people, and your God my God, that is binding covenant language. Ruth is saying, I am choosing you. I am choosing your nation. And I am choosing your God. She is not just being loyal to a mother-in-law. She is converting. She is crossing over. She is leaving everything, her family, her culture, her religion, her safety, and stepping into complete uncertainty with a bitter, grieving widow and a God she was only beginning to know. Those aren't just 7 words of loyalty. Those are 7 words of absolute surrender. They arrive in Bethlehem and the whole town stirs. "Is this Naomi?" they ask. And Naomi, broken, empty, grieving, says, "Don't call me Naomi, call me Mara, because Naomi means pleasant and Mara means bitter. I went out full and the Lord has brought me home empty." When Ruth steps into that town, she's not stepping into welcome arms and warm beds. She's stepping into a place where her mother-in-law is introducing herself as bitter and empty. They have nothing. And here is where Ruth's character starts to shine beyond the 7 words. She doesn't wait. She doesn't complain. She doesn't look for what she deserves. She looks for what she can do. She goes to Naomi and says, "Let me go to the fields. Let me pick up the leftover grain behind whoever will let me work." She was asking to be a gleaner, the ancient equivalent of showing up at the absolute bottom rung of the workforce, picking up what others had already discarded. But Ruth had made her covenant, and she was going to work it.
Let me go to the fields and pick up the leftover grain behind anyone in whose eyes I find favor.
The Bible uses a phrase here that you should underline. It says, "And she happened to come to the part of the field belonging to Boaz." She happened to. That phrase is doing a lot of work because Boaz is not just any landowner. He is a relative of Naomi's late husband. He is a kinsman-redeemer, and he is, by all accounts, a righteous man. And Ruth just happened to end up in his field. If you've walked with God any length of time, you know there's no such thing as just happened to in the economy of heaven. That is divine positioning. God moving pieces on a board Ruth couldn't even see. Boaz arrives, greets his workers, and immediately notices her. He asks about her. His workers say she's the Moabite woman who came back with Naomi. She asked permission to glean and has been working since morning, barely stopping. Boaz goes to her directly.
"My daughter, listen to me. Don't go and glean in another field, and don't go away from here. I have told the men not to lay a hand on you. And whenever you are thirsty, go and get a drink from the water jars the men have filled."
Ruth asks why he would show her such kindness. She's a foreigner. And Boaz reveals he already knew her story. "I've been told all about what you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband, how you left your father and mother and your homeland, and came to live with a people you did not know before." Her 7 words had traveled ahead of her. Her reputation walked into that field before she did. Faithfulness has a way of doing that. Now we get to what might be the most misunderstood scene in the entire book. And I want to handle it carefully because the way modern eyes read it and the way it functioned in ancient Near Eastern covenant culture are 2 very different things. Naomi has been watching. She knows who Boaz is, a kinsman-redeemer, and she has a plan. She tells Ruth, "Tonight Boaz will be at the threshing floor. Go, wash yourself, put on your best garments, and when he lies down, uncover his feet and lie there. He'll tell you what to do." Ruth says, "I will do whatever you say."
I ask this covenant of you tonight, under these stars as my witness. Let my people go free, and I will serve your God all my days.
There it is again, that same spirit of surrender that produced the 7 words at the crossroads. Naomi said, "Go," and Ruth went. In the middle of the night, Boaz wakes startled and finds a woman lying at his feet. He asks who she is, and Ruth says,
I am your servant Ruth. Spread the corner of your garment over me, since you are a kinsman-redeemer. Spread the corner of your garment over me.
In Hebrew culture, this was a marriage proposal, covenant language. She was asking him to cover her, to protect, to redeem, to bring her fully into his family. And it took courage that is hard to overstate. A Moabite widow, a powerful landowner, the middle of the night, her entire future in one moment. Boaz's response is immediate.
"All the people of my town know that you are a woman of noble character."
And he says yes. There is one closer relative in line. He'll give that man the chance first. But if that man steps aside, Boaz will be her redeemer. The next morning, the closer relative declines. He doesn't want to risk his own inheritance. And Boaz steps forward without hesitation. He redeems the land. He takes Ruth as his wife. And Naomi, the woman who called herself empty and bitter, holds a grandson named Obed in her arms before the chapter closes.
After all these years, hope has returned to us.